It was a cold and quiet night. Rain was falling softly. The wind was strong, and the trees outside Daniel's house were shaking. Daniel lived alone, far from the city, in a small wooden cabin near the forest. He was making tea when he heard a strange sound. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't the wind. It sounded like metal hitting the ground. Curious, Daniel grabbed his jacket, flashlight, and walked out into the rain. The sound had come from the forest. His boots made soft squelching sounds in the wet mud as he followed the noise. After walking for 5 minutes, he saw something. It was a crate. A large, black metal box, half buried in the wet earth. It was not like any box he had seen before. It was smooth, with no lock or handle. Strange glowing lines moved across its surface, like it was alive. And it was humming softly. Daniel stepped closer. Suddenly, he heard it. A voice. "Please, help me. Let me out." Daniel froze. It was a girl's voice. Quiet. Weak. Frightened. He looked around, but no one was there. The voice came from inside the box. He touched the crate. It was cold but started to warm under his hand. The glow pulsed faster. The voice spoke again. "Please, don't leave me." Daniel's heart beat faster. Was this a prank? A hidden speaker? Or something else? He tried to open the crate, but it didn't move. No doors. No locks. No seams. Just smooth metal. He spoke. "Who are you?" There was silence. Then the voice whispered, "I'm trapped. I'm not from here. They'll come for me. Please, don't let them take me again." Daniel didn't understand. Who was they? What was this crate? And how did she speak English? He looked at the sky. Rain was falling harder. He had no answers, but he couldn't just leave her there. With great effort, he dragged the crate through the mud back to his house. It was heavier than anything he had ever lifted. But somehow, he managed. Inside the house, he placed it on the floor near the fireplace. The light from the crate lit up the room. Daniel sat down, staring at it. The voice had gone quiet. He made tea again. His hands were shaking. A voice from a box. A box from the forest. And she said she wasn't from Earth. Then, something changed. The crate made a clicking sound. A small square opened on the front, like a screen. On it appeared a face. A girl's face. She looked young. Her skin was light blue. Her eyes were large and glowing purple. She had thin lines across her cheeks, like tattoos. But her expression was tired and scared. "You're not one of them," she said softly. "Thank you." Daniel blinked. "Who are you?" She looked at him for a moment. "My name is Zira. I'm not human. But I won't hurt you. I promise." He nodded slowly. "What are you doing here?" Zira closed her eyes. "I was being moved. Taken somewhere. I escaped. This crate saved me. But I can't open it from the inside. I need help." Daniel leaned closer. "Are you an alien?" Zira smiled weakly. "Yes. But I'm not the only one. And if they find me, they'll hurt you too. Please, don't tell anyone I'm here." Daniel didn't know what to say. This was crazy. But the fear in her voice felt real. She looked real. She wasn't just a machine. She was alive. He stood up. "I'll help you. I don't know how yet. But I won't let anyone take you." The crate glowed brighter, like it understood. Zira gave him a small smile. Outside, the rain kept falling. But inside the cabin, something strange and powerful had just begun. The next morning, Daniel didn't go to work. He couldn't. He sat in front of the glowing crate, staring at the strange screen where Zira's face had appeared. He still couldn't believe what had happened last night. Was it real? Had he imagined everything? Just then, the crate made a soft click. The screen turned on again. Zira's face appeared, blinking slowly. "You're still here," she whispered. Daniel leaned forward. Yeah. I didn't sleep. Zira looked down. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. Daniel shook his head. You didn't. I just don't know what to do. Zira looked straight at him. Can you open it? The box. From your side. Daniel hesitated. I tried. There's no lock, no handle. Nothing. Zira was quiet. Then she said, Put your hand on the front. Just hold it there. Daniel moved closer. Slowly, he placed his hand flat on the metal. It felt warm. Then suddenly, the glow around the crate began to move, like liquid light sliding under his palm. A low hum filled the room. The box made a soft hiss. Then a line appeared, right down the middle. The crate opened. Steam poured out, and Daniel jumped back. His heart pounded. And then, she stepped out. Zira. She was short, maybe 5 feet tall. Her skin shimmered in the light, smooth and pale blue. She wore a strange silver suit that looked grown, not sewn. Her hair was long, silvery white. But her eyes, big, purple, and glowing softly, were the strangest thing. Not scary. Just different. She took one step forward and almost fell. Daniel rushed to catch her. Her body was ice cold. He helped her sit down on the rug by the fireplace. She looked around, shivering. So this is Earth, she whispered. Daniel handed her a blanket. You're freezing. She smiled. The crate kept me alive. But not warm. Daniel looked at her. Are you really not human? Zira pulled up her sleeve. There was a soft blue glow beneath her skin, like tiny lights flowing through her veins. Do humans have this? She asked, smiling. Daniel laughed nervously. No. Not even close. They sat quietly for a moment. Then Daniel asked, Why were you locked in there? Zira's smile faded. Because I escaped. Escaped from what? She looked at the fire, her voice quiet. A ship. Orbiting your planet. They caught me when I was young. Scientists. They studied me. Cut me. Injected things into my blood. I don't know why. Daniel felt a chill. That's horrible. Zira nodded. I wasn't the only one. But I'm the only one who got out. Daniel looked at her. How did you escape? One of their machines broke. I crawled through the vents. I stole a pod and crashed in your forest. The crate was meant to protect cargo. I locked myself inside before I lost consciousness. Daniel was silent. He didn't know what to say. Zira looked up at him. You don't believe me? Daniel stared back. I don't know. But I believe you're not lying. She gave a small, sad smile. Then suddenly, a loud beep came from the crate. Zira's expression changed. Fear. Pure fear. They're tracking it, she said. They know it opened. They're coming. Daniel stood up. What do we do? Zira looked around. Hide me. Anywhere. I just need time. If they find me, they'll erase your mind, or worse. Daniel stared at the glowing crate. It had saved her once. Now, he had to. He quickly led her to the basement. It was small, dusty, but hidden. Stay here. I'll come back. Before he left, she grabbed his hand. Her skin was warmer now. Thank you, Daniel. He nodded once. Then closed the basement door behind him. Upstairs, the sound of distant engines echoed in the sky. They were here. And Daniel had made his choice. The sky was no longer quiet. Daniel stepped outside and looked up. Through the clouds, a black shape hovered. It wasn't a plane. It made no sound. It had no wings. It just floated, dark, smooth, and watching. It sent a chill down his spine. He ran back inside. Zira was still in the basement, sitting quietly in the corner, covered in an old blanket. Her eyes were open but glowing dim. She was listening. They found us, Daniel whispered. Zira nodded slowly. They will not knock. He locked the basement door and pushed a bookshelf in front of it. Then he rushed to the window. 3 black cars were speeding down the muddy road. No lights. No license plates. And too fast for normal drivers. Within seconds, they were outside. The first car stopped. 4 people in black suits stepped out. They weren't police. They weren't military. Their faces were cold, blank, like machines wearing skin. One of them raised a small device. It beeped, flashed red, then green. Crate signal confirmed. Subject is near, he said into a small MIC on his collar. Daniel backed away from the window. His heart was racing. He didn't know what they were, but he knew they weren't human in the normal way. Then came the knock. Not a loud one. Not angry. Just precise. 3 knocks. Daniel didn't move. Another knock. Then a voice through the door. We are from Global Atmospheric Research. We tracked a falling object. There is no danger. We just want to speak. Lies. Daniel's mind raced. If he didn't answer, they might break in. But if he opened the door, Zira was gone. He took a deep breath, opened the door just a crack. A man in a black coat stood there. Pale skin. Thin lips. Eyes hidden behind black glasses, even though the sky was grey. Mr. Daniel Cooper, he asked, reading from a tablet. Daniel nodded slowly. We detected an energy signature near your home. Possibly meteorite related. Have you seen anything unusual? Daniel looked straight at him. No. Just bad weather. The man tilted his head. You live alone? Yes. The man's mouth curled into a fake smile. May we take a quick look inside? Daniel didn't move. Do you have a warrant? The smile faded. The man turned to his team. Thermal scan. One of them lifted a small device. A beam swept across the cabin. Daniel heard it beep once, then again. The agent frowned. There's someone else here, he said. Daniel's heart dropped. The lead agent turned back toward him. I'll ask one last time. Is anyone else here? Daniel forced a calm voice. That scanner must be wrong. There's no one here. A pause. Then the man said coldly, if you are hiding government property, you will be detained. He nodded to the others. They moved. Daniel slammed the door and locked it, but it was too late. The door shattered inward seconds later. Black-clad agents poured in. Daniel ran to the basement. Zira! They're in! Zira was already standing. Her eyes were glowing bright now. Her body lit up with lines of blue energy. Daniel stared. She looked dangerous. Powerful. I won't let them take me again, she said. The agents reached the basement door. They kicked it once. Twice. Boom. Wood splintered. Zira stepped forward, raising one glowing hand. Back! Daniel shouted. You'll get hurt. Zira looked at him. Her voice was soft. Not you. Them. The door flew open. Zira's body flashed with a bright blue pulse. A wave of energy shot out. The first 2 agents were thrown across the hallway like dolls. The others raised weapons. Not guns, devices with red lights. Zira grabbed Daniel and pulled him close. Hold on. In an instant, they vanished. A blast of blue light filled the room. When it faded, the agents were left alone. No sign of Zira. No sign of Daniel. Just silence. And the crate, now cold and empty. Darkness. Daniel couldn't see. Couldn't move. His ears rang like 1,000 bees buzzing inside his skull. Then, warmth. His vision slowly returned. He was lying on soft ground. But it wasn't his house. This place was glowing, alive. The walls shimmered like silver mist. Strange blue roots pulsed under his hands. The air smelled clean, but not like earth. He sat up. Where are we? He whispered. Zira stood nearby, breathing hard. Her glow had dimmed, but her eyes still lit the space around her. Safe. For now. Daniel looked around. This isn't Earth, is it? She shook her head. It's a pocket dimension. A hidden zone created by my species long ago. A shelter, outside normal time. They can't follow us here. Daniel stared. You teleported us. Zira nodded. Only once. It uses a lot of energy. I can't do it again for a while. Daniel stepped closer. You never told me you had powers like this. She looked away. Because I didn't want you to see me as a weapon. That's how they saw me. That's why they took me. Daniel's voice dropped. Who are they? Zira sat down on a glowing rock. Her expression was distant now. Cold. Tired. Humans. But not like you. A group working in secret. Not your governments. Not your armies. A hidden faction that calls itself the Black Assembly. They find alien life. They steal it. They use it. Daniel clenched his jaw. What did they do to you? She met his eyes. They treated me like I wasn't alive. They scanned my brain. Burned my skin. Forced me to use my gifts. Made me hurt things just to see how I'd react. A moment passed. Her hands began to tremble. I begged them to stop. I begged them not to make me fight. Daniel knelt beside her. You're not a weapon. Zira looked at him, eyes glassy. They wanted me to be. But I ran. I hid in that crate, locked myself in, and waited for death. Daniel's voice was quiet. But you found me instead. She smiled, barely. I found hope. The two sat silently. The light in the cave pulsed softly, matching Zira's breathing. Daniel finally spoke. Why are they still after you? Zira stood again. Because I'm proof. Proof that life exists beyond Earth. That humanity isn't alone. If the world knew that, governments, religions, power systems, everything would change. Daniel nodded slowly. So they want to erase you. They won't stop. Not until I'm gone. Daniel looked around. How long can we stay here? Zira shook her head. Not long. This place feeds off my energy. If I stay too long, it'll drain me. Daniel stood. Then we run. Again. Zira frowned. They'll be waiting. They're watching everything. Your phone. Your ID. Every signal. Daniel smiled. Then we don't use signals. She raised an eyebrow. You have a plan? He nodded. I know someone. Off-grid. Ex-military. Hates the system. He owes me. Zira stared at him, hopeful. You'd risk all that? For me? Daniel stepped closer. You're not just some alien in a box anymore, Zira. You're my responsibility now. Her eyes shimmered. But then, from deep within the glowing cave, a pulse. A warning tone. Zira turned sharply. They found a trace. They're breaking through. The walls began to flicker. Daniel grabbed her hand. Then let's go. Now. She closed her eyes. The cave dimmed. This time, she said softly, I won't run alone. The light flashed. And they were gone. 3 days passed. Daniel and Zira were now deep in the mountains, far from cities and satellites. They lived inside an abandoned ranger station. No cameras. No signals. No power grid. It was the safest place Daniel knew. He chopped wood. Zira boiled stream water. Slowly, she was healing. Her skin was brighter. Her voice stronger. Her smile more real. She laughed for the first time while watching a squirrel try to carry a huge pine cone. So greedy, she said. Daniel smiled. You'd fit in here. For a moment, she almost believed it. But peace never lasts. Not when someone is watching. That night, Daniel sat by the fire. Zira slept upstairs, breathing slow and deep. Her body glowed gently in the dark, like a star behind a curtain. Daniel's phone, powered off since day one, lay in the drawer. He stared at it. Then his hand moved. He powered it on. One bar of signal blinked to life. He typed a number. Paused. Then hit send. She's alive. Coordinate sent. Just protect me. He powered it off and put it back. Then he sat by the fire and cried. The next morning, Zira was making tea. She was learning to use human hands, slow, clumsy, but careful. She turned to Daniel. You've been quiet. Daniel forced a smile. Just tired. Before she could answer, a loud thud shook the walls. Zira's head turned sharply. No. Boom. The front door exploded inward. Smoke filled the cabin. Zira moved fast. She grabbed Daniel's hand, but this time, he didn't move. She looked back. He wasn't reaching for her. He was backing away. Daniel. He couldn't meet her eyes. I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do. Zira froze. Her glow dimmed. You told them, she whispered. The black-suited agents swarmed in. This time, they didn't shoot. They had something stronger. One agent threw a small cube at her feet. It opened mid-air and fired a net made of crackling energy. It wrapped around her, glowing, pulsing. Zira screamed and fell to her knees. She tried to use her powers. Nothing worked. The net drained her. She looked at Daniel. Betrayal. Pain. Hurt. You said I was your responsibility, she gasped. I am, Daniel said. That's why I gave you up. I thought they'd let you live. An agent walked over and hit her with a dart. Her body went still. Then silence. They carried her out like cargo. Daniel stood alone, trembling. One agent approached him. You did well, Mr. Cooper. This will go much smoother now. Daniel didn't reply. The cars disappeared into the forest, tires crushing branches, vanishing without a trace. But what they didn't know. As the net pulled Zira into sleep, her eyes flickered open for just 1 second. She had seen Daniel's pain. His shaking hands. His tear-filled eyes. She understood something. This wasn't betrayal from hate. It was betrayal from fear. And she wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. The cabin was quiet again. No more smoke. No more agents. No more Zira. Just Daniel, sitting on the floor, surrounded by ash, wires, and regret. He hadn't slept. He hadn't moved. His hands were still shaking. He stared at the spot where she had looked at him, not with hate, but with heartbreak. He had betrayed her, lied to her, handed her over like a coward. And now he couldn't breathe. 72 hours later, Daniel stood in a small desert town. Dry, hot, and full of silence. This was where Oren lived. Oren was ex-military, ex-Black Ops, off-grid for 10 years. Daniel had helped him disappear once, long ago. Now it was time to cash in that favor. He knocked twice. A gun clicked behind the door. Daniel Cooper, a gravelly voice said. You've got some balls showing up here. Daniel didn't move. I need to break into a black site. The door opened. Inside the bunker, Daniel told Oren everything. About Zira. About the crate. The powers. The agency. The mistake. Oren didn't laugh. He didn't question. He just listened. Then he said, You want my help to save an alien girl you gave up to a secret military group? Daniel nodded. Oren shrugged. Hell, why not? I was bored anyway. That night, they worked. Oren pulled up old schematics, hidden research bases, stolen frequencies, satellite blind spots. They tracked the signal Daniel's phone had sent. Cross-referenced the direction of extraction. Flight times. Vanishing points. One location matched. A place listed as Zone 9, Arctic Division. No map showed it. No roads led to it. Daniel stared at the screen. That's where she is. Oren smiled darkly. Then we go there. 2 weeks later. Daniel stood in the snow. Heavy coat. Frozen fingers. Rifle on his back. A bag full of gear strapped to his chest. The wind howled like a beast. Oren motioned toward a silver dome in the distance. Barely visible under layers of ice. That's the place. No windows. No guards outside. All internal. Which means... Daniel finished the sentence, we're already being watched. They moved fast, under cover of the storm. Down a frozen trench. Over a security fence. Through an old maintenance shaft Oren had mapped years ago. Inside, the lights were white and blinding. Machines hummed. Doors opened with no sound. Then they heard it, a scream. Faint, but familiar. Zira. Daniel ran before Oren could stop him. He sprinted through metal halls, past labs with strange samples in glass. Alien bones. Body parts. Wires in spines. Eyes in jars. The deeper he went, the worse it got. And then, he saw her. Zira, strapped to a floating table. Wires in her arms. Her glow, gone. She was pale. Barely breathing. Daniel charged. A guard stepped out, he dropped him with one punch. Another drew a weapon, Oren took him down with a shock dart. Daniel reached the table. Zira, he whispered. I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm here. Her eyes fluttered open. Weak, but alive. Took you long enough, she said softly. Daniel laughed, almost cried. Then alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted. Footsteps thundered. Oren shouted from the hall. We've got 5 minutes, max. Daniel tore the wires off her. Carried her in his arms. Hold on, he said. Zira's hand rested on his chest. I never stopped. They ran. Back through the corridor. Past the glass horrors. Up into the freezing storm. Bullets sliced through the air behind them. A chopper rose from the snow. Oren waved them in, yelling, Move! They jumped in. As the helicopter lifted, Daniel looked down. The facility below began to explode, fire ripping through ice, metal, and secrets. Oren grinned. Set charges on the way in. Felt like the right thing to do. Daniel smiled. Zira leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. She was safe. But Daniel knew. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The helicopter soared through the night sky, blades cutting through the cold wind as the Arctic base burned far below. Flames lit up the ice like sunrise. Inside, Zira was wrapped in a thick blanket. She rested against Daniel's chest, her breathing slow but steady. Daniel held her close. He hadn't spoken in 10 minutes. Not because he had nothing to say, but because nothing felt big enough. He had betrayed her. And still, she came back to life in his arms. The chopper landed hours later in a quiet valley in Greenland, a hidden refueling station only Oren knew about. They laid Zira on a bed inside a metal shelter. A small fire crackled in the corner. Daniel sat beside her, never leaving her side. When she opened her eyes again, the purple light had returned. You should have left me, she whispered. Daniel shook his head. I already lost you once. I wasn't going to do it again. Zira studied his face. Her fingers touched the edge of his jaw, so gently, it felt like forgiveness. I saw what they did in that place, he said quietly. Not just to you. To others. Bones. Machines. Pieces of lives. Zira looked down. They want control. Not truth. I'm not the only one out there. They know it. They're afraid. Daniel leaned in. Then we show them they should be. The next day, Zira stood outside the cabin. Her body was stronger. She had absorbed energy from the light, the snow, the earth itself. Her skin shimmered in the cold. She no longer looked like a prisoner. She looked like what she truly was, something powerful. Something alien. And something human, too. She turned to Daniel. You saved me. He smiled. No. I just gave you a chance. You did the rest. Then she reached into her suit and pulled out a small crystal, glowing like a star. What's that? Daniel asked. A beacon, she said. To call the others. Daniel's eyes widened. There are more of you. Zira nodded. Not many. But enough. We've been hiding. Waiting. Watching. She paused. They need to know that Earth has humans who don't cage us. She held the crystal up. It pulsed once, twice. Then the sky shifted. Clouds parted, and high above, stars blinked into strange formations, not random. Signals. Responses. Daniel stepped beside her. What happens now? Zira smiled softly. Now we stop hiding. 1 week later, a video leaked online. A blurry shot of a girl with glowing skin. A strange aircraft. A burning base. Then it was gone. Deleted. Denied. Covered up. But people had seen it. And people remembered. 1 month later, Daniel and Zira stood at the edge of a canyon, watching the sky. Her beacon pulsed once more. From above, something shimmered, not a spaceship, not a light, but a presence. Daniel turned to her. You sure you want to go? Zira looked at him. I'm not leaving forever. I'm going to bring them back. He nodded slowly. Just, come back soon. Zira leaned forward and kissed his cheek. I'm not done with you yet, Daniel Cooper. With a final smile, she stepped into the light. And vanished. Far above Earth, the stars shifted again. And something answered.